Hey class, this is it. This is the last time we'll be delivering speeches together. And I just want to say that this has been a great learning experience. I want to start off by saying that during the pandemic was one of the toughest times in school I have ever had, and ended up even taking like a gap year. And as someone who has underlying health conditions involving my lungs, the thought of getting COVID was really scary, and I barely made it out of the house, and when I did, I was always either going to work or like going to do the things that I usually do, but just completely alone. And then, however, as time went on, I realized that COVID couldn't prevent me from doing what I loved. With that being said, I picked school back up last semester and continued my hobbies with my friends. Although life is not the same as it used to be, there are still restrictions and things we're unable to do. One of those restrictions are travel restrictions. Directly after COVID restrictions began to subside, my family and I went on vacation to Mexico. And we took an airplane, and taking an airplane during the time of COVID was a very difficult thing. There was the waiting in the long lines just to be temped, and then for luggage and security, all these lines every time you would have to be temped, and it took a long time, hours. There was wearing a hot mask in a hot airport on a long plane ride was definitely really uncomfortable. It's not unbearable, but it was uncomfortable, to say the least. And many areas like amusement parks, shows, and pools, stuff all like that were closed. Couldn't really do much. A shortage of masks left many businesses unable to run, which prevented friends going out places, which is definitely something that happened to me, seeing as golf courses were closed and people wouldn't allow fishing with a certain amount of people in a group. It was a very restricted time. Being alone was hard for me. As somebody who is diagnosed with anxiety and depression, it was definitely really hard not being able to see my friends all the time. And although I was able to go fishing, hiking, and hunting, many of my friends weren't able to go, and they themselves were also scared of the thought of getting COVID. And being left to my own devices for over a year really took a toll on me. I've lost friendships just due to falling out and unable to see them. I would basically just go to work and come home because I would be too depressed to want to go out and do the things that I normally did. So that was another big hit that COVID had in my life. Living in the new normal is a term I've heard a lot thrown around, and the new normal is what I would consider the aftermath of COVID. The death, lasting restrictions such as table spacing and limited people in certain areas like hospitals, and of course the effect that COVID had on my education. My education and academic record will always be scarred for the rest of my life because of what happened during COVID, but I will persevere and I will become a fantastic vet because I am determined to overcome and earn my degree the way I intended. I ultimately have overcome a lot of my anxieties over the course of the past 3 years, which is part of this newfound determination. So, although COVID has left some lasting scars on many lives, including mine, maybe not as severe as other people's, but everyone has somehow been affected by COVID. I know that if it weren't for the pandemic, however, I would have probably dropped out of school and be left to work a crappy job for the rest of my life. COVID has taken a lot from me, but COVID's also given me more than what I could have ever expected. There's a bug. I know many people feel differently about the whole thing, but as for my story, I think it was probably for the better. Thank you for tuning in one last time. It was a short time we had together, but I definitely feel a lot more confident speaking. And I know that this is an important part of my college career. I've always been afraid to take this class, but now that I did it, and I think I would say I got a pretty decent grade on my speeches, I feel like I'm a lot more determined now, and I'm really happy that I was able to finish this. But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks a lot. Bye.